Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC, having a look at a knife today that I've had in my pocket for a while that I thought, yeah, it's about time we make some content on this. This is the Victorinox Floral Knife. Now, it's got a bit of a zesty name to it, however, as far as a knife is concerned, it's a very nice, budget-friendly pocket cutter. So let's turn the camera around and take a closer look. Now the wind's just picked up a little bit, so I do apologise if you can hear any wind noise in the background, but getting straight into it, whilst it's closed like this, the full length of this comes in at 100mm. The height, now I'm doing the height from the spine here, or where the back spring is, all the way up to the shoulder of the knife here. So the widest part on this comes in at 23mm, and the depth of this comes in at 14mm. So having this in your pocket, it's actually really nice and small and compact whilst it is in your pocket. It's more akin to maybe something like a Barlow knife, something that is more like a gentleman's folder. When you look at some other Victorinox tools, Victorinox knives, because they have several different tools that are on here. This is the Pioneer X. It's a little bit shorter, but it's definitely more stout so that it can fit in some of those extra tools. Similar with this one, I forgot what this one is. It's just completely gone off the top of my mind, but this one's similar to the Pioneer X here. It's just a little bit shorter, but again it's a lot more stout because of the extra tools that you have on here. As far as the tools are concerned, this just has it just has that one kind of cutting edge. Now when you open this up, it extends from 100mm up to 165mm, so as you can probably do the maths from this, the full length from the tip of the scales here through the ricasso to the point of the knife comes in at 65mm, and the actual cutting edge itself from the choil here all the way to the tip is 55mm. Now that's just over 2 inches, so I'm going to make a bold statement here in the fact that with this being a slip joint and it being around the 2-inch length, this is probably going to be a very world legal knife. Now in a lot of areas around the world, generally they say 1, it has to be a slip joint, and 2, it needs to be 3 inches or less. I know there are certain places, there are certain cities that you go to that they say no, it has to be 2 inches or less. I think generally if you're looking at this and somebody's arguing over that extra 1/8 of an inch, because it comes in at 2.2 inches, 2 1/8 of an inch. So I was getting my metric and imperial mixed up then for a second. I don't think anybody's going to squabble over that 1/8 of an inch, officer. It's fine. Yeah, kind of thing. But, you know, you have to take that with a pinch of salt. I'm not a legal kind of expert. Now the kind of the materials that we have on here, hopefully you'll be able to see. So not the same as the Inox here, and definitely not same as the cherry versions. The scales on here, this is just made from a polyamide. Now polyamide is just a nice word for nylon, so it's a nylon scale on here, and they're held on by these 3 pins that are just pressed onto it. They're pressed on rather crudely. It's not got a particularly nice finish. However, this is definitely what I would consider to be a budget-friendly knife. I picked this up. When did I pick this up? I picked this up in the it was the Amazon Black Friday sale, and I got this for about 14 quid, which isn't particularly expensive at all. In Europe, you can probably pick these up for say 12 to 14 euros. If you're in the US, it's probably something similar. You can pick these up for 12 to say $15, probably slightly less. So you're not expecting something that's, you know, it's not something like a Benchmade knife that's going to be 10 times the price, but it doesn't need to be a Benchmade knife that's 10 times the price. You can pick up several, you probably pick up 20 of these for the price of one of these. And again, I think that's the beauty of this. So this is designed to be something that's used in the garden for pruning vegetables, for pruning your flowers and stuff. That's why it's called the floral knife. Well, I'm guessing that's why it's called the floral knife. On the website you'll see that this is available in 6 different colours. Some of the other colours I would say are definitely feminine colours, which I imagine that's a strange thing to say nowadays, but they're definitely feminine style colours. This one is black, and then there is also a cherry red version, but it's a different type of cherry red. So these have a gloss kind of scale to them, whereas this one definitely has a matte scale to it. But yeah, it's made from a nylon material. And then on here you can see the Victorinox logo on there. I don't think this is metal that's been pressed into it. I actually think that this is a metallic paint that's been put on there. But again, you know, it's still for the price of this, you know, I'm not arguing. The stock on the material, or the material for the stock, this is made from a 14110 steel, stainless steel, which is an okay steel. Again, would you like this to be made from something that is a nicer steel? Yeah, I'd love it to be made from Magna Cut. Okay, you can have it made from Magna Cut, but it would probably cost 3 or 4 times the price. This is a cheap beta kind of steel, which does very good. So I've had this now for about 6 months. You can see I have got some use on here. I certainly haven't had to sharpen this in the last 6 months. It does exceptionally well at cutting cardboard, I will say. You've got a sheep, or you've got a sheep's foot back to this, which means that it's got a nice strong tip on this, especially if you're going to be using this reasonably heavily. And again, yeah, it does a nice job slicing. Now the grind on this, so you just you have an asymmetric grind on here, so you just have this one ground plane here, whereas on the back there is a, I don't know if you could kind of call this a grind, but they have kind of sharpened this to some degree, but it doesn't have a doubled edge to this. It's just this one cutting edge here. For being able to cut like that, it's fine. Being able to cut like that, you know, having that geometry on there makes it perfect for slicing. Now, an extra thing to point out, it's perfect for people who are right-handed. Clearly, the Swiss aren't friendly for left-handers. You have a nail nick on here. Being able to open and close it with your left hand is very easy. If you're left-handed, then you're gonna have to just kind of pinch it a little bit. The back spring on here, so the back spring, like you get with a lot of Victorinox knives, is very strong, and she likes to bite, let's just say. So when I get down to about 7 o'clock here, you'll see that does jump in there. So when you're opening and closing this, you just have to be careful. Some people might complain about slip joint knives. I like to think in some instances that slip joint knives are more safer than locking blades, which seems a strange thing to say. And the reason that I quantify that is you have to make sure you're extra special. You're always conscious that this may close in your hand, so you just make sure that you use it a little bit more carefully. Now, I'm not saying that it is more safe, because it might possibly close in your hand. When you have your hand on the back here, it does take a reasonable amount of pressure to be able to do that with your thumb or your finger, but again, it might possibly close, so again, you just have to be careful. There isn't a half stop here as well. All I've done is I've put it in that position, and the friction from the back spring has held it in that position. There isn't a half detent on here, again, so it's just another thing that you have to be careful whilst you're using a knife like this. Now, as far as how well it cuts, this is a reasonably thin 2-ply cardboard. No issues whatsoever with that at all. This is a thicker 3-ply cardboard, and with this as well, so I'm cutting against the grain, or kind of across where the corrugated parts are. It's a little bit tougher, but not really that much more, whereas if I cut through the grain, just kind of slices through that, no issues whatsoever. It's a cracking little knife. I know I mentioned the budgetness of this. I think this is a good wee knife just to have around the house for things like this. I think I mentioned a few weeks ago when I was looking at something else that I was making some content on, I mentioned how I generally carry two knives. One knife that's a bit of a beater, and one knife, or at least one knife that I use for heavier duties, and another knife that I use for lighter kind of things. And although this is a reasonably cheap knife, the Swiss quality that you get from a company like Victorinox certainly adds to the durability of this, and being able to cut up things if you have this, so that this is just always in your pocket for those light to heavy duties, or at least I think specifically for cutting up cardboard boxes, which I certainly wouldn't class as a heavy duty kind of thing. But yes, it's a nice little budget knife from Victorinox. So yeah, there you go. Now I'll leave some links below if you want to pick up one of these. I've got some affiliate links. I believe I've got some affiliate links, so I'll leave some links below just in case you do want to pick up one of these. I'll leave some of my social media links below so that you can see more from me here on Moorlander EDC and my sister channel, Moorlander Tactical. Oh, and by the way, not yesterday, the day before, Moorlander EDC turned 7 years old, so we're now 7 years old and 40,000 subscribers, which is always kind of cool. So that was a nice couple of milestones. So yes, links below. Follow me on Moorlander EDC and Moorlander Tactical, and whether you're watching this on YouTube or Rumble, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, stay EDC. Just be careful when you're slapping your tool against your hand. I don't know where I'm going with that. Someone's like tapping shit back there. It's always the same. I come out, do some filming, someone's tapping some shit, or when I'm filming in the woods, come out, do some filming, plane flies over. Bruv, give me a moment's peace. That's me talking to the old gods. And this is Moorlander EDC. I found this knife in my drawer today. No, I didn't. I don't know why I said that. It's been in my pocket for the last 2 weeks. Idiot. Butter smooth. Well, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, stay EDC. My wife just flashed me her boobs. She was there. I can see you. She's in the patio window and she just flashed me. How rude. That's going in the bloopers. I love Mrs. Moorlander. Boobs are great. Let's hear in the comments below who likes boobs. Whether you're gay, straight, male, female, we all like boobs, don't we? I should probably get in the house and see what my wife's up to. Anyway, where was I? I hope you're all having a good week. I am generally going to go now. Alright, cool. Thanks. Bye.